Sorry about this again. Someone should go to mute while I do the first. Yeah, that's the one. All right. New Balance's 880 is built to be your go-to neutral cushion running shoe. A soft foam compound and dual layer midsole setup is featured alongside a sleek engineered mesh upper featuring strategic zones of support and breathability. With running comfortably for longer in mind, the 880 was built to provide consistent performance for the runner who prefers neutral cushioning.
Sorry, I'm muted. Welcome to the the Inside Riding Podcast, May edition 2022, and I'm joined by my co-host over in Geelong, Julian Spence, owner of the running company Geelong. How are you going, mate?
Good. How are you doing?
Good, mate. And more importantly, Tom's back.
Here he is.
Walker Street Podiatry.
Thanks for allowing me to join this month.
You're a hard man to get. How you going, Tom?
Oh, no, I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. That's good to be back.
And you're back running the most out of all three of us again. It's amazing how that turns around so often.
Am I?
Well, I'm assuming Julian's not up to 60Ks a week.
Not me.
No.
Yeah, I like this.
Yeah, so you're back in front.
58 last week.
58, good.
Happy with that.
And feeling good?
Yeah, feeling good. Had a little hiccup getting back into things initially, so I had like another 10 days off, but since then just building up gradually. So it's been good. Been able to use a few of the running shoes that I had laying about that I'd wanted to use that I hadn't been able to use for months.
Looking, 60K is enough. It's probably not enough to like test all the shoes you have lying around, is it?
No, not yet. not to give them a proper go.
Yeah. And Julian, you're back getting into some consistency again?
Sort of, yeah. Just went through the rebuild, the run walk program.
Mm-hmm.
I got up to 30 minutes yesterday. So like I feel I'm not back. And I'm not back because I still have a little awareness in my knee. So there's like I'm not getting too far ahead of myself. But it's been
so your bike hasn't gone up on Marketplace yet then?
No, I actually think that I'm about 2 weeks from fully going 100% into the biking just because I can't deal with all these setbacks. I know if I get on the bike, I'll be all right. So maybe it's not going to be good for the bank balance going 100% into the biking, but it might be all I got.
Look, it is expensive. And you mean what, getting a road bike or getting some more gear for your mountain bike?
Well, yeah, there's always upgrades, isn't there? Yeah. So I look at I got a carbon bike. I'm like, oh, what else can I make lighter? I like the idea of being light as possible. So could do a new helmet, could do a new seat post, go to carbon seat post.
You sound like Tom, obsessed with weight.
Yeah, well, it actually matters when you're on the bike.
All right, Tom, give us a run now. What have you been wearing this month? What have you been wearing since you've been getting back and workouts and jogs?
So I have got, obviously, same as you guys, a pair of the New Balance 880s. I've only got them recently, so I've only done two easy short runs in those. I guess I'll touch on those to begin. So yeah, so the idea of these, so I got my pair here. So the main difference being from the previous model, I believe, is the addition of the fuel cell foam, which is that grey part here. And then it's still got the Fresh Foam X, which the previous models have had. I was hoping for that fuel cell to feel a bit like the fuel cell, or for this shoe to feel a little bit more like the Rebel V2 in the forefoot, something that's nice and soft. But I think a bit like your experience, Nitta, when you mentioned how you felt in it, it didn't feel any softer than the previous model in the forefoot. I haven't really had enough time to really compare how it's going compared to the old pair that I probably put 400k in. But so far it's definitely an enjoyable ride through the rear foot. So for 90% of those that are heel striking out there, it feels nice. I think that Fresh Foam X is it's a great compound. It's just soft and forgiving. So for like easy Ks, it's nice. Forefoot's no softer. But overall, the ride I enjoy traditional geometry shoes. So I don't like doing every single run in high stack plated shoes. So I actually really appreciate getting into a model that's a traditional geometry. My Achilles quite likes it, and it's just nice to be in a shoe that actually flexes through the forefoot. The one thing I had issues with was the fit. It just fits smaller than it's the smallest size 13 I've had in any model for probably forever. It's just really short on my toe. So it probably fits for me like half a size to a full size shorter than some other models.
Did you wear the V11, Tom?
I can't remember if it was the V11 or V10.
I think it must be
the one
V10.
I got from you. I got the triple black from you. What was that one?
I think it was the V10 because the V11 and V12 are similar. They were short-fitting shoes, no doubt, and this new one's just stayed the same basically. So okay. I think if you're going to them from another model, you're going to run into the fit issue. But if you're staying in the 880, then you'll probably be used to it if you've had the last version.
Mm-hmm. But it is worth noting though, because to me the 1080 has always felt like it almost runs a little bit long, or at least true to size bare minimum, and that's whether or not that's changed the review for me on the 880s. The fit changes your perspective on the shoe as well, like where you land in terms of your cushioning and how it feels on your foot and how the ride is. And so because the toes were so congested, I felt like, I'm a 10 US, I got sent to 10 US, and I appreciate the shoe for the ride, but I reckon it's probably a full size short almost, to be honest. And if I went a full size up, because there's so much volume in the forefoot, it's the nice sort of square toe box like New Balance have, I reckon it'd be a little bit baggy for me if I went up to that high as well. So on
that, I actually had a guy, Wayne, message me in the week because I posted something about the 880 fitting short, and he said that Nitta about he's got a 1080, and if anything, it fits bigger. And his question, maybe Julian, you can answer this, is why is it so hard for especially the same brand to have more consistency within their models with size?
Well, actually, yeah. So just on the fit of the 1080, this was a message from the New Balance tech rep, Matt Spicer. He said that Danny Orr, who is, I think it's head of footwear for New Balance or head of performance, he said it's because the last hadn't changed from when they took the Ultra heel out from V11. So the Ultra heel forced the foot to sit forward in the shoe. So when they removed it, the shoe fits a half size longer. Now, that doesn't, to me, that's not a justification. That's the reason why it fits longer, but I still think you need to adjust your shoe because of that. And it's obviously a more expensive, complex process when you have to change the last of a shoe. But that's the reason. That's the reasoning being given by New Balance. But that doesn't explain why the 880 is short, though, does it?
No. I feel like even if the upper was, because I was thinking about this and I was thinking, is it something to do with, which you already sort of alluded to with the heel cut, but even like the toe box shape, if they just blew out the upper a little bit, like gave a bit more depth and made it sort of the toe cup a bit further forward on that midsole, it would probably give all the room it needed.
Yeah, look, it's like square at the tip, for example. It is odd, like it's just literally one part of my foot that collides in the end. I feel like the volume's not too bad, but I think that just changes the experience, right? Like I'm finding the forefoot firm, and I'm not 100% convinced that's purely the actual material, the fuel cell beneath the forefoot. It could be a bit to do where the fit is and how it is as well. So, I mean, the other thing worth noting is this is I don't know what it's like in terms of midsole durability. I probably won't take it out to its lifespan, but the outsole is thick. It's a large, dense steak of an outsole, and you won't really wear that out, I don't think, before you wear the midsole out. And I reckon, Tom, you had that question. You said, what's the most ideal ratio of when you wear a shoe? Is at its end life? Does the midsole go first, or is the outsole? Well, I don't think the outsole is going first in this shoe, would be my guess.
Yeah,
that's they did have some durability issues with the previous version from the outsole wearing quickly, especially through the through like the forefoot area where someone will claw off a little bit, like where you'll rip and grip almost, grip and rip, and then. Yeah, I think that's probably played a part in this one. And it does, I think it provides that firmer, sort of more stable feel underfoot, because that fresh foam, that is softer. That is softer to me than the last version. And it's all through the rear foot of the shoe, which is where which is where every single walker lands and where most runners land as well. And this was always a very stable option. Used to compare it to the Brooks Ghost, kind of Asics Pursuit type shoe, and I feel like this extra softness makes it less stable, and it doesn't.
But will it sell more? Like, will it sell more because it's more enjoyable on first feel? Like, I put my foot in this and walk in the shoe, it feels really plush underfoot because the fresh foam, like you said, I think is softer than the previous version. How the fuel cell is firmer, I'm not sure how that's happened. Whether it's a different durometer fuel cell compared to what they've used in other shoes, it has to be.
Yeah,
I think it is.
I'm not exactly sure on that, but I do know that not everyone wants to feel very soft in a shoe anymore. Especially this customer wants to feel stable, and they don't want to feel like they're sinking into soft foams. I think maybe this shoe's sort of followed the trend of soft, comfort-based sort of shoes, and at some time in our life we need stable, and we need shoes in the range that are stable. And I almost feel like the 1080 is a more stable feel than the 880 these days.
That's just the upper
model, though.
Yeah.
The new model of 1080 has a big, broad footprint, and I feel like the fresh foam is more stable, or the shape, the geometry of the shoe is more stable now than the I'll get Nitta to put it up, than the 880 is.
That's a big transition then, because it was the opposite for quite a while, wasn't it? I mean, it's always been the 1080's been pretty unstable for some people.
Yeah, it is the opposite, but now it's a much bigger shoe. It's got a bigger footprint. It's got a pretty flat sole.
And now, like without a doubt, the heel counter update on the 1080 makes this shoe much more stable than the previous versions. So this is a firm heel counter. Previously, obviously, you had the similar geometry, probably a little bit more aesthetic with the curve, but it was thin. It was easy to compress down. So I think this gives you a perception of being more stable as well. But I mean, this is a good shoe. This is the kids 880. New Balance are one of the few companies to use their premium base midsoles in their kids shoes, and so I don't know if you've got this in stock at all, Julian, or you've seen this in a clinic much, Tom, but it's got a bit more of an anatomical fit forefoot. I don't know if it runs small or short. I need to get feedback on that. But as a general shoe that feels relatively soft, I don't think it's got fuel cell. I think it's fresh foam through the whole shoe. Not a bad little kid's shoe if you're doing lots of running around.
It isn't released yet.
It isn't? Okay.
No, so it's not in store yet. It will be when it comes, but we still have the previous version, which is a great kid shoe. We really like that one. Yeah.
Easy.
It's
going to be a staple. It's going to be a staple shoe, I think, in terms of people still comparing to a Ghost and shoes that you traditionally sell as a stable neutral category, even if it is a bit softer, I think.
Yeah, it's still there. You need options in that category.
We still need them for sure. In that same category, the other one I've just done a few runs in is the Cumulus. Have you guys run in that, the 24s?
Yeah.
To me, like, the first feel is it's soft. It's nice and soft throughout, rear foot to forefoot. But I'm already worried. I've only done like 4 runs in it that it's I'm going to have durability issues because it's just so plush, and it's just the EVA that I feel like it's a low durometer to begin with. It's probably going to stay compressed. Like the last Cumulus I had, probably I felt the forefoot indentations staying there after like 250K. So I'm really enjoying it at the moment, but I know it's not going to last long.
Mm.
That's my concern. I feel like the 880 might, because it doesn't feel like, even like during the run, it doesn't feel like it's sort of losing its rebound as much as the Cumulus does. So the Cumulus definitely is just like easy, just shorter, easier runs than a longer run, or
and compared to that latest Nimbus, like, I mean, the Cumulus and Nimbus, I know they sort of swapped where they placed the higher and lower durometers, the top and the bottom of the midsole. How does it feel comparatively for you?
I haven't run in the Nimbus.
Oh, you haven't? Yeah.
No.
The Nimbus is soft, and I found the Cumulus to be a little bit firmer than the Nimbus still. So the durability issues, if they're there in the Cumulus, they're definitely going to be there in the Nimbus as well. So, but they are moving to this fun-based foams. Their neutral shoes are all extremely plush, and even we talked about the Kayano 28. Even the forefoot in that became, I felt the forefoot indentation not really, returning after about 100 Ks, to be honest. So it's just the way that's moved.
I reckon ASICS has probably gone down this path harder and further than everybody. And those shoes that you've mentioned, that type of foam that they're using is the one that we're seeing people come back kind of dissatisfied with the life of the shoe. And it does feel great early on. But this is just part and parcel now of foams. And every brand is doing it. I just saw the new Cumulus and Nimbus for next year. They're quite different as well. So like they're almost unrecognizable, to be honest. But they still use soft foams. And again, I still think there's a requirement out there that we have denser, firmer foams, and not just like durability is one reason, but stability is the other. And yeah, that Nimbus does feel pretty good to start with, but it's also, like, Nitta is very soft, pretty narrow sort of base, lot of compliancy in that foam.
Look, but it seems to help with the first point of sale, surely. Like, people are gravitating towards these softer shoes. The Nimbus 24, I don't know if it's easier to sell than the 23 was, or is it just because they need to be similar to the other models of shoes that are coming out now, like their Nova Blast feels and other shoes that are probably becoming more enjoyable, that they are picking the concepts of those shoes up and putting them back into their stock line that stock for the last 2 decades?
To the unassisted purchaser, yes, it probably sells more. But in our store, no, it doesn't, because we can red flag a few things and we can provide a bit of direction on what we want from a shoe. But yeah, if you chuck that on at Rebel and go for a walk, that's going to feel like softness tends to feel more comfortable. And if you don't understand the consequence of that, then you'll probably end up with that shoe, which may be fine for some people, but may create trouble for others.
So this is essentially, what are you going to say?
There you go.
No, I was just going to say, this is essentially gets to the crux of this whole, comfort filter paradigm, where now we're hearing, there's Ben O'Nig, famous shoe researcher, proposing that comfort will reduce injury risk. But, as we know, it's not as easy, not as simple as that, I guess. At first, how do you determine comfort? Is it just that first feel, or is it comfort after 100K? So comfort is important, but...
And look, comfort changes for you, Tom, now compared to when you're back running 100 miles a week, right?
Yep, that's it. And I'm 5 kilos over normal training weight, and I prefer a little bit more cushion, a bit more shoe at the moment, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Comfort's essential, though. Comfort's a non-compromise. So if you can have it's just, should it be the only variable that you pick the shoe on? No, it shouldn't be.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially for someone who's trying to run a lot, the goal is to run as much as you possibly can, if that's the goal, and run as well as you can. You can almost intuitively pick the shoe that will offload an ailment one day compared to another, and you got to solve that puzzle. And you get better with experience. If you're lucky, if you get a retailer or a practitioner that can help you out with those tools and try to put you into the right attributes for a shoe, you can normally almost pick that out from. A runner can normally self-select that better than what a practitioner can tell them after years of experience. They just know what they require. And so it's just a feedback loop. You did a workout yesterday though as well, Tom. What'd you wear for your workout?
I went back to the Next Percents. My old trusties. It was good to be back in them. And I was thinking on the warm down, because what I did was I did warm up, cool down, because I basically just ran to the bay near my place, did a session around the bay and ran back all as one run. And I just wore the Next Percent for the whole thing. And I was just thinking, oh geez, imagine if I did all this in my Mayflies. Like I was probably like 8 minutes into that tempo and my calves were getting a little bit tight because I haven't used my calves for probably 5 months properly. It's just amazing how much the shoe can influence load when you think of it like that. Like, because I know that if I had worn like a traditional racing shoe, I wouldn't have even got through that session, let alone being able to run today. Whereas I'm a bit sore, but like I'm fine.
Look, that's a good point though. Like, because you are deconditioned, even a Next Percent couldn't stop your calves from getting slightly sore. So, conditioning is everything. We're just lucky we've got shoes to be able to help us get through a few of those things a bit easier than the previous.
Normally what I would have done is do this session probably on grass and in a training shoe as opposed to a racing shoe and on concrete.
Yeah, but you love concrete so much, the Next Percent went on.
Love concrete. Can't get enough of it.
All right, Julian, tell us what you've been running in on your return back. You're back into actual continuous running now as well, I see.
30 minutes yesterday, and I've only worn the Ultra Mont Blanc. So that's the only shoe that I've been wearing. And like Tom, at the end of 30 minutes yesterday, I was sore in my calf. And I'm like, this is my I looked down at my watch. It was 24 minutes. I thought my limit is 24 minutes because all of a sudden my calf is telling me that's enough. And I'm starting to land.
Your limit's 30 if you put a heel pitch in that shoe, mate.
Yeah. That's a good idea, actually. I might consider that, or I might just wear a bigger shoe. But I do like the shoe. I changed the laces on it. I went to a flat, like normal lace rather than it's a circle round lace at the moment. So it sort of digs in a bit. It's a shoe I love underfoot, but there are a few issues with the upper through the heel and the lacing, really thin tongue. It's got some work to do on it. But
look, that sits amongst some of the other ultra range, is that right? Like you have similar heel counters that could look a little bit sort of sus, a bit sort of like flexible and square.
They've all been better than this one. This has been the major concern in the heel counter range for me. I've always found like the others have been fine actually. So this one is a bit disappointing, but with the new lacing, it's fine. With the I don't really notice it once I'm out there. It's just it could be better. And it's got this sort of really like, it's called Vibram something. I can't keep up with all the names of the stuff, but it's a shorter lugged Vibram. It's super sticky. It is perfect for where I run at the moment. And then I actually got this shoe called the Brooks Caldera 6. Now, following in the vein of lots of the other shoes in the industry right now.
So you're 100% trail runner right now. 100% trail runner.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I'm only running from home and it's trails. So yeah. And why would I run on road if I didn't? If I chose to run, I'm running on trail. But yeah, this is the Caldera 6. It's not actually released yet. I ordered it through my portal. They sent it to me. So as far as I'm concerned, I have the shoe and we're off. Very thick, 6 millimeter offset. You sit in the actual foot sits actually right down here. So it's a cradle. This is the new DNA Loft 3. So this is the nitrogen infused foam. And it's quite like, I wore the Aurora. I didn't love it because of the flex groove, but I did like the foam. Now, this shoe is very rigid and stiff. It has a slight rocker, but it's not crazy. The foam initially feels firm underfoot, and then when you run in it or when you put load, it actually softens a bit. So I can see this shoe being really durable. Like this foam to me looks like a real progression and advancement for Brooks. I don't feel like they've going to suffer the same consequence of some of those newer school foams, like maybe Fresh Foam and the ASICS variations of Flight Foam. I reckon you're going to get a lot more life out of this. And it feels really stable too. So it's a big win for me, this shoe. I think it's going to be great for it's going to sit in the same ballpark as like an Ultra Olympus or Stinson Challenger from Hocker in that area, where big, thick midsole, but still stiff. I don't think it's quite as soft as some of them, so you will be able to get onto some technical stuff with it. The idea is underneath here that it's got these big 2 channels, and so it can adapt to different bevels, cambers, routes on the trail. So you're not feeling like if you stand on something, your whole foot will just twist. There'll be a bit of give within the wall.
And what do you think? How much do you think sitting amongst the sidewalls adds to stability, or do you think it's purely aesthetic?
No, I do think the foot definitely feels more secure like that, and I think you'll feel. It's very hard to feel this when you're on a shop floor, but when you get on the trail and you like a lot of the trails, we have the wall of the trail. It's almost like a little semicircle, like a skateboard ramp.
Camber.
And when you're on the camber, that's when you'll feel the actual the rails or the saddle that you sit into. You're not going to feel it like giving you any benefit if you're just on the shop floor. So I think it'll play a part.
How many people do you have, if any, coming back with issues with sidewalls in terms of like rubbing and hot spots?
Well, consider what are the shoes that have the sidewalls?
Mostly all the Hockers.
Yeah, not that I can remember really any.
Okay.
I don't. Maybe like the Clifton is the only example I can see of like recurrent blistering issues in the arch area, but I don't think that's from the sidewall. I think that's from a bit of harshness, like where the inner sole meets the upper.
You've seen the More 4 that gets released the following year. You sit amongst a large amount of sidewall there as well. So, yeah. But, I mean, what else has sidewall? I mean, the Adrenaline doesn't really have sidewall, but you'd almost argue guide rails aren't too far away from that, are they? It's just a slightly firmer plastic, isn't it?
Yeah, I haven't actually seen anyone come in with irritation from the guide rails.
No. Have you, Tom?
It's more so like just the main issues I've seen is sidewalls that go lateral border and styloid process, which is just the bony prominence on the lateral border of the foot. So I've had maybe half a dozen people with that, and then the more common one is the sidewalls that extend into the forefoot. So there's particularly some of the Hocker models, the sidewalls go all the way up until pretty much the end of the shoe, and only like maybe 3 or 4 mils up. But just like edge blisters. So like people that do like long stuff, they'll get like the medial plantar but side of like the big toe. And I think it's from the sidewall because it's just slightly more stiff than if it was the upper and doesn't give quite as much. But like that's just obviously I'm just seeing all those people with issues. Like there's obviously vast majority don't have any issues with that, and it's probably beneficial for the respect that it keeps you on top of the midsole on uneven surface. But yeah, obviously people with wide feet particularly, or a prominent like styloid, that bony bump on the midfoot on the outside, they got to be careful, I reckon, with shoes with sidewalls. Just
we would hope that like hopefully you can pick that up early enough on the shop floor where you might go into a broader shoe. That's probably like our like I actually have had a couple of like the blistering where you're talking about, and I think it's the shoe is too narrow for them, and like if the sidewall wasn't there, maybe the shoe wouldn't be too narrow for them. It just creates like a firmness there that they have to get away from. Yeah,
good.
All right.
Is that the same, that Caldera shoe, just back on that, is that going to be the same foam that falls into the glycerin when it gets released?
Yes. Yeah. Glycerin 20 GTS will both have this foam. And I'm excited by it. I think it can do good.
The Aurora foam to me was one of the best daily trainer foams I've put on.
Yeah, I agree.
It was stable to me because it was like a little bit higher density. There was probably more foam under the forefoot than most daily trainers, perhaps, but it definitely acted pretty stable. It was responsive. Besides the upper being far too narrow on that shoe, that foam going amongst their stable shoe. I'm not sure if it's going to be identical in terms of like, weight when you put it into like a glycerin, whether it gets heavier. I'm not sure. I don't know if you know the specs in the future, but that foam probably is going to be one that will be. I don't know. Brooks haven't done this for a while. I think it'll be a good change for them.
Yeah, well, they make innovations. The guide rail thing was taking out nearly their most popular shoe, the Adrenaline, and twisting it on its head, and it's been successful. They've done it. I mean, I questioned it at the time whether removing the medial post from a shoe that's grown and survived on its medial post, it was a good thing to do. And turns out that, like, I guess the reason why it was a success is most people didn't require the medial post that was wearing that shoe. And so you take that out, they have a better experience, great. But yeah, I think this foam, I don't think you're going to have any previous glycerin wearers struggle too much with the new foam. And if they do, then they can go to a Ghost. And it's not even, I mean, it's not that far of a disconnect from the glycerin to the Ghost. So I reckon we're okay. Yeah.
It's not that far of a disconnect from the Ghost through to the Adrenaline either, to be honest. So
no, it's not. It isn't.
Yeah.
What shoes have you been wearing?
Well, look, the last 4 weeks I've had time off running. I've been a cyclist, middle-aged white cyclist, which is pretty much the common theme. I have had a fibular stress fracture in my calf. I've been doing a lot of running in the Kiwana leading into that. So Tom thinks that perhaps maybe running off the old negative rocket at the rear foot could be a bit of a contributor to more calf load. But it's a subtle one, but I start my running back again tomorrow. And the first shoe I'm going to wear, and I was going to suggest this to you, Julie, with your tight or sore calves, was I'm going to wear the Supercomp trainer from New Balance as my return back, because I walk in that shoe and do you have it in front of you at all by any chance? Or
Nah, I'm at home.
No, mine's not with me either. It's also at home. But this is a really high stack shoe. This is the highest stack shoe in the market, you reckon, for jogging?
Yes.
At the moment, so 44 at the rear, is that right?
47.
47 at the rear. Yeah, it runs off, is it 8 mil drop?
Yep.
8 mil drop. And it has a really aggressive rocker and has a plate through the shoe from the rear foot to the forefoot. And I walk in this thing, and I could jog in this thing already. I can't feel my calf from 2 weeks ago. I didn't want to do that just in case, but the shoe it's very soft underfoot, but relatively stable with plate. Perhaps I was really surprised. I thought the heel is decoupled substantially, which means if you do hit the rear foot a lot, you might have a bit of a risk of being unstable because the upper's a bit compliant as well. But this will be an interesting shoe. I'm not sure where it's truly placed, but I reckon people could probably pick the pace up in it, do long runs in it, do easy recovery runs in it. It sits as one of the most versatile shoes in the market, but it is very polarizing from, say, a shoe like the 880, for example, which is firmer, lower to the ground with traditional geometry. But that'll be what I'll be jogging in the next few weeks. So when I first get back to workouts, I'm actually going to jump into this is a full New Balance plug, but into the RC2. Seems like a pretty soft shoe underfoot, and that's what I'll look for when I come back into running with calf-related injury or lower leg-related injury on return.
Yeah, already picked the workout shoe.
Yeah. I'll be jogging with the girls, doing workouts with the ladies, hopefully within 4 weeks, which is not too far away, hopefully. It's my load management plan. Yeah.
When's the first run back?
Tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's been 4 weeks. It's only a fibula. I said that last time 2 weeks ago, but it was a little bit early to come back at 2 weeks. So, yeah. And I'm sick every second week with Zara bringing something back from childcare. So, gave me a good time to recuperate from all of that. So, but no, that's good. I'm looking forward to the Supercomp trainer. So, I actually think I haven't seen it as much as I thought it would on social media. I thought there'd be a bit more exposure to it, a few more people wearing it. I haven't seen anyone wear it out in the field yet either. So, I know it's been released.
Is that availability?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
No, it's out. Like it's specialty retail. We're trucking through them. We've already sold out of my size, so I'm disappointed in that. I'll have to wait till the next round. But yeah, it's like two new segments this week. One segment I'll do this time is what was the training group wearing on the Sunday long run, and so I'll go through. There were 2 Supercomp trainers on the Sunday long run.
Nice. On the trails?
Dirt roads, but one of them, the shoe was it was so high stack and soft and it had the heel cup had irritated this runner's tib post so much that he had to take it off before the end.
Wow.
And especially turning corners, it was no good. So he will do better in a lower stack shoe. And then so there were 2 Supercomp trainers, one Hoka Stinson ATR one Nike Peg Turbo 2, and one Nike Structure 24.
It's good.
So yeah, I like this. Is good. It shows you how varied the shoe choice is through the group.
Look, how's Tom going to do this segment? He doesn't run with people on his long run.
I was just going to say that.
What are your kids wearing?
What is Lana wearing on her long run? It's always going to be Adidas as well, isn't it?
She loves those shoes. I bought her a pair of Tempo Next Percent. She wasn't a fan.
Okay.
Was not a fan.
Why did you buy that shoe though? Come on.
Out of all the shoes you could get, you got that shoe.
It was on sale. It's a tight ass.
it may be from now, but
that's good. I'll be able to go out the long run next week, at least on the bike, so I should be able to see. I've got a fair idea, but a lot of high stack on your long runs by the sound of it, Julian.
Yeah. Well, the Hoka gets Jimmy through until his workout at the end. He's in marathon training, and normally it's full of Saucony Triumph, so a little bit of a change up for this week.
Interesting.
I'll give you the Saturday session shoe list. It'll be about 100 shoes. I'll give you.
Oh, great.
Yeah, tell us their names of the individuals first.
Yeah.
All right, Nitta, new segment too.
Yeah, Hall of Fame shoe. And it's funny, you threw this on me this morning, Julian, and I wasn't 100% sure where I was going to start. Because how far back do you go? I think for this, you have to probably have your own experience with the shoe. So we're not going to be able to go back to shoes that existed before our running time.
No.
But I have picked a shoe, I think circa 2007, I reckon. And Tom would know this. You both would have worn this one as well. I've got a photo of it here. Actually, I haven't got a photo. I picked it up on my other iPad.
Before you show us, what's your guess, Tom?
Oh. It's got to be a Nike, surely.
Zoom Elite 4.
Yeah. Nike Zoom Elite 4. So do you guys remember this pretty well? It was this was everywhere. Everyone had a Zoom Elite 4 if you were running anything over 50, 60 Ks a week, for example. If you were a recreational, you saw this. It was probably up against maybe the DS Trainer at the time, perhaps from ASICS, which sold really well at the time. But this was such an easy sale. It had the mild medial post. I thought it was the geometry of the shoe was quite a dense foam, but it had the air pockets in the rear foot. I don't think it had air in the forefoot off memory. Do you guys remember that? And I can't find that detail either. So it weighed probably just under 300 grams for a size 10 off memory. I remember that. So it was like a lightweight performance trainer. And I would be really interested to see what I would think of that shoe. You know how you watch a movie from 20 years ago that you loved and you just think, oh, that was crap. I wonder what it feels like now. But at the time, I could tempo in that shoe. I think it was referred to as a lightweight cruiser. I remember I worked at Jog as well back in 2004 or 5, and it was under the lightweight cruiser category. So, but yet still 300 grams. Still required stability. The upper was quite industrial, it was really thick based upper with a lot of the metallic sort of reflection pads. They were quite industrial, supporting the rear foot, the mid foot, and the forefoot. The outsole was the little square rubber beads. They were they were durable. So you could probably.
Was it part of the part of the Bauman series?
It was a Bauman series, yeah.
Yeah.
So it never went back the same. I remember the Luna. there was a gap after the 4, maybe 2 or 3 years, and then when the 5th model came out, it was the Luna on midsole off memory.
It's called the Lunar Elite. It was terrible.
That's it. Yeah, that's right. So
terrible. I
think, Tom, you didn't mind the Luna series when they came out. I think you liked the Luna Trainer and say the Luna Racer and things. But I reckon the Zoom Elite 5, 6 models with the Luna, they were a bit ordinary comparatively, I thought.
Yeah, I don't reckon you'd enjoy that shoe now, mate. I think you'd put it on and you'd be like, how did I like this? How was this?
But look, it's still a Hall of Fame shoe, surely.
Absolutely. Because it was found within every training group, and it was found at every session, long run or workout or easy day, whatever. And
look, you could have raced a marathon in this shoe as well.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, probably. I had a pair. I had the grey and orange ones, and I think I got them from Run for Your Life in Richmond at the time from Gorski. And that I had them, and I coupled them with, I think, a structure. And I was running in the lightweight shoe, and then that more posted shoe.
The
And
medial
I
post light.
I always felt like I loved the Zoom Elite more, and so I went searching for them. And then I'm like, heard they were bringing the Lunar Elite out, so I thought, oh wait, it's got to be better. And gee, it was not better at all.
Nah. Look, I coupled this shoe with you guys would remember this. You both would remember it. The Mizuno Wave Nirvana. The posted shoe that was like above the Inspire, but it had like more 4-foot base cushioning to it. It was high up the ground, but that truly made this shoe feel like a lightweight trader.
That was a big shoe.
It was a big shoe, yeah, like the Equilon. Remember the Equilon?
I had the Equilon.
Yeah,
I had the Equilon with some crazy inverted orthotic. For my tib post. I had like tib post pain for like 6 months, and I was that was my setup for a while there.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, it's good. Well, what do you guys got in stock for the next month? I'm assuming just getting back into life. Has your mortgage settled yet, Tom? It's all done.
Yeah, I'm going to be a Shire boy soon. In 2 weeks, I'm moving to the Shire.
Well, concrete down there.
Never be seen again on the North Shore.
And you can't jog to work that well? It's like a marathon to work.
No, so what I'll do is I'll get the train from Como Station down, which is where I am, to like Green Square, like around the city, and then I'll run from there to North Sydney.
Yep.
So my plan is to keep working here a few days, and I found somewhere down there to work a couple of days a week as well.
Look at you, Tom, just saving the environment, commuting.
Yeah, I've got to get the run in somehow. It won't happen otherwise.
Need a bike.
Did you guys chat about the Monster last month?
I did a bit as well. Like I haven't got enough running in it, but I really enjoyed aspects of the midsole.
Tom, did you not listen to our podcast last month?
Yeah, I just forgot.
Yeah. Tell us your thoughts, mate.
No, I'll be doing some more running in it. Yeah, I quite like it. It's the first on shoe I've enjoyed running in. I don't know. Like it's interesting. It's obviously got the cushion. It's sort of forgiving. The only issue I've got, I guess, is the speedboard is still obviously that firmer plastic plate they have in there is close to the foot. So I've actually did what you suggested, Nitta, and I put a softer sock liner from another shoe into it, and it feels better just with that. And that's actually interesting. Like just on that, like how you said, we always talk about midsoles, but with the 880 being a firmer outsole, and then the insole can actually as well play a role in the ride or the feel of the shoe. So it's made it a little bit more enjoyable. But yeah, I'll be doing more Ks in it because it's definitely like I said, the first onshore I've actually enjoyed running in because it doesn't feel as weird and hard and firm. It's got some cush to it.
Yep. Very cool.
All right.
Good guys. I think it was pretty good. You guys have a good month, and we'll speak soon.
Sounds good.
Ciao for now.
See ya. New Balance's 880 is built to be your go-to neutral cushion shoe. A soft foam compound and dual layer midsole setup is featured alongside a sleek engineered mesh upper, featuring strategic zones of support and breathability. With running comfortably for longer in mind, the 880 was built to provide consistent performance for the runner who prefers neutral cushioning.